Okay, so who is everyone here today? I would assume that some people are digital marketing professionals. Who would say they're digital marketing professionals? Or two?
Yes.
And a half. Okay, not many. Newbies, so people who really don't know much about online marketing, digital marketing, SEO at all. A few more of them. And a few somewhere in between? Know a little bit, yes? Okay, so how would I describe myself? Well, thankfully, I would describe myself as a digital marketing professional. But, however, nobody knows absolutely everything about digital marketing. It's such a changing field. You can think you know absolutely everything and then have a conversation with someone and know someone knows a lot about a particular topic. So what are my main areas of expertise? Well, SEO. I started off really getting involved with SEO and being able to rank websites fairly high in Google quite quickly. Content marketing, that is actually the writing, audio, video, getting content out there and getting people to visit your site because of the content that you've distributed elsewhere. And also digital strategy as well. I really like understanding different types of digital media and how they fit together and what's best done first. So a little bit about my background, first of all. So I've been involved with digital marketing for quite a while. Started off in the year 2000, actually. That's me in the year 2000. I launched an online restaurant guide. And that's where people could book online. And it really went well for a while, but after a while, the business strategy wasn't quite the right time. So long story short, the business didn't quite work out, but that's where I got my grounding in digital marketing. I really got interested, and fast forward a couple of years later, 2004. By 2004, I was making a decent amount of money online myself. A couple of years, within that couple of years, I was figuring out how to design my own sites, how does everything fit together, how do you actually make money out of websites in terms of advertising, and how do you drive traffic at websites. So by 2004, I was making about £500 plus a week. $1,000 it was, because obviously you tend to get paid in US dollars online. And that was doing fairly well for me there by about 2004. So by 2005, 2006, I attended a few different networking events, and people started saying to me, well, how are you making your money, and how are you managing to do that? How are you managing to get these sites ranked to the top of Google for very competitive keyword phrases? So by 2005, 2006, I ended up providing quite a few SEO services for different people. A couple of companies coming to me and saying, will you do what you've done for yourself for me? But by 2007, I was getting quite frustrated. I didn't enjoy the fact that there were so many sharks in the SEO world. There were so many people that said, pay us $99 and we'll build 100,000 links to your website and we'll get you ranked overnight. Because they were preying on website owners or people who wanted to make their website successful online. And it just didn't work, or certainly didn't work long term. So I thought it was very, very important for people within businesses to get comfortable with digital marketing. Not to do everything themselves, but at least if they didn't want to do everything themselves, where they could actually manage an agency with a bit of knowledge behind them. So by 2007, I started doing different seminars. And I was doing quite a few seminars across the UK. 2008, what I did was I launched one of those seminars as a DVD, CD, and workbook home study course. I got lots of great reviews. I sent this product off to a few top bloggers at the time. Chris Garrett, if you're starting out in internet marketing and do not know which way to turn, the system will give you a comprehensive step-by-step overview. So that's great feedback to have. Yaro Starik, Entrepreneur's Journey, he's a really famous blogger. Fantastic down-to-earth internet marketing home study course. So that really set me on course as a digital marketing trainer. 2010, 2011, what I wanted to do was relaunch everything, because everything changes very quickly. And if you have just a home study course, then you can't really update things. So I turned the course into an online training platform. And these CDs were in effect videos that were online. Everything you could do online, a blueprint, a step-to-step action plan. And sent for reviews again. Again, so I've got some great reviews there as well. Comprehensive training course. Should be added to the armory of any company that's serious about building their internet presence. So really, really happy about the kind of reviews that I had there. But what am I doing now? What kind of current projects am I up to? Well, Digital Marketing Monthly magazine is something I launched a few months ago. And Digital Marketing Monthly is an iPad-only magazine. And I've already got, well over 1,000 readers of that as well. So that's a really, great way of distributing your content on the iPad now. I'm also distributing books on the Kindle as well. That's the new 26-week digital marketing plan, week 1 competitor analysis. So I'm delivering each week in a manner that people want to actually read content in, because people don't necessarily just want to log onto a website and see all the content on that particular website. If they're on the tube, if they're traveling somewhere, then they can get it the way that they want to see content. I'm also in the process of completely relaunching the 26-week digital marketing plan yet again. And you might have noticed the name change from Internet Marketing Plan to Digital Marketing Plan. A couple of reasons for that. One is I think internet marketing is very associated with make money online kind of type products. And I don't want to be associated with that, because this is a step-by-step system that you can apply to any business, any conventional business. Sure, you can actually build a website and just make money online if you want to. But if you own a shop somewhere or have another type of service business, then this is a system that can apply to that. So that's one reason. And the second reason is digital marketing is much more than online marketing now. Digital marketing is through your Kindle, through your iPad, and that can be read and accessed offline when you're traveling, when you don't have internet access at all. So I think digital is a much more appropriate name now. But I'd like to talk today about the 4 phases of digital marketing. Now, the 4 phases are basically what I call the framework behind the 26-week digital marketing plan. And that starts off with phase number 1, software and structure. Phase number 2, get social and turn on the tap. Number 3, broaden your base. And number 4, broaden your horizon. So let's crack on with phase number 1, software and structure. Now, the first thing that you need to do is select your host and CMS. It's important to start off at the very, very beginning. Get your hosting right, get your content management system right, how you're actually going to access your website and manage your content as well. But your hosting needs to be absolutely spot on. There's so many case studies that I've done recently for the new 26-week digital marketing plan training material. I've had about 10 people that have said to me, you can use my website as a case study. And I've put their website through different tests. And it's taken 10 or 20 seconds to actually load the first page. And that's absolutely terrible. You need to be better than 5 seconds load time. So selecting your host, getting your content management system right to begin with is absolutely imperative. Getting the design right, so what kind of themes or styles you're going to actually have on your website. Optimizing it for SEO, and tracking and measuring and testing. Knowing what your goals and objectives are when you actually come up, when you set up your website to begin with. So starting off with which host. Well, there are a few different options. There's a shared server, your own server, or a VPS. So a shared server is probably the most common one. Your own server is the most common one for really big companies. And VPS, virtual private server, that's kind of a middle ground. So having a look at shared server to begin with. Probably one of the most common ones is HostGator. HostGator start off at $3.96 a month, so it doesn't seem much at all. VidaHost, it's a UK-based one, £2.99 a month. I've used both of them, and I kind of thoroughly recommend both of them for actually starting off. VidaHost is great for UK-based business, because one of the things you want to do is actually have your server ideally based in the same country where the majority of your target audience is. Because that's a little signal to Google that if the server's there, then your website is more likely to be targeting that particular country. So that's VidaHost, just $2.99 a month. So if you're just starting out and you don't have many visitors, then that's probably a good option for you there as well. On the other end of the scale, you get your dedicated servers. You're probably starting off about £600 a month. There are options less than that, but if you're talking about a big business, then that's the kind of figures that you will be talking about. In between, you've got Gandhi.net, which is a VPS. A virtual private server, and that starts off about £9.50 a month. Now, there are lots of VPSs. Gandhi is just an example, but I'm using Gandhi as an example because that's the service that I use to actually host 26weekplan.com. Starts off at £9.50 a month, and what you can do is you can select different nodes, different levels of VPS. So how much RAM, how much storage space, how much processor power you actually get. So it's a virtual segment of a server that you get. And that really, really is excellent, because what it means is you get all the power of having your own server, and you can choose how much of that server you have. I really like this website called Web Page Test, which I use to actually see how quickly web pages load. And you can see here 3.442 seconds, so 3.4 seconds for the home page of 26weekplan.com. But look at this repeat view, 0.4 seconds. So whenever someone refreshes the page or goes back to the page, because the page has been cached and stored in their computer, then it only takes 0.4 seconds to load. So that's just a breakdown of all the different files that are loading there and the repeat view there. So that's the kind of performance level you should be looking for. Less than 5 seconds for your first load time, less than a second for your second load time. If you start getting above 10 seconds initially and your repeat view isn't better than 5 seconds or so, you're probably putting people off visiting your website. They'll click on your site, see a little, round thing that goes round and can't be bothered, go back. So they'll go and visit a competitor instead possibly. So use that to test your website. So selecting your host, obviously you've got budget to consider, server location, server speed and reliability, and software. What kind of software you actually want to run on the host to begin with. So those are the things to consider initially. Moving on to CMS, this content management system. How do you actually want to use the server? I use and thoroughly recommend WordPress, which is appropriate for probably 90+% of businesses out there. It's easy to personalize, easy to use, easy to upgrade, and completely free of charge. I'm talking about WordPress.org. WordPress.org is where you get the software from, and you can actually easily upload that to your server. Quite a few hosts have WordPress automatically installed, so you actually have to just click one button. So that's an advantage with using HostGator or VidaHost. Once you sign up with them, you just have to click one button and your WordPress is installed, and that's your content management system. How many people here have actually heard of WordPress? Okay, that's good, the majority of people. So get the design right after that. The design, I'm talking about themes in WordPress. And what a theme is in a sense a design structure. And it's a few pieces of code that you can add to WordPress to completely change the look and feel. And what that does is it gives you an opportunity to personalize your WordPress. And there are many places that you can actually get themes for low cost, There are many places you can get themes for no cost. I would suggest going for low cost, because then you've got a coder that's probably spent a bit of time in it, and it's more likely to be a little bit more efficient in terms of loading up and better for your users. There are a few decent themes that you can get from Theme Forest for less than $50. Woo Themes is another great place where you can get themes from. And I use the Thesis theme on 26weekplan.com. Now, the Thesis theme is essentially a different framework for WordPress. So it changes a few of the features within WordPress, but it makes it very easy to actually customize things. And with Thesis, they also have their own skins. So the skins are the designs that fit on top of Thesis. But if you're serious about WordPress, I would suggest looking into Thesis and perhaps using that and having a skin on top of that. And that's certainly what I use. And of course, you don't have to do everything yourself. Especially if you're not a coder. If you're in business, you want to concentrate on the strategy, on the marketing, on the kind of things that are important for you in business. So if that's the case, use a service like Odesk. I've got 4 or 5 people working for me all the time on Odesk, and they're all around the world in lots of different countries. It's a really great service, so I thoroughly recommend that for getting someone to actually install your theme, make your theme a little bit more bespoke, whatever you want them to do. Okay, so your next stage is optimizing your site for SEO. Have pretty canonicalized URLs. So big word there, canonicalization. And what that essentially is talking about is ensuring that there's just one version of a URL that the search engines can see for each page. Because a lot of content management systems and the themes and default ways of doing things can sometimes throw up different URLs depending on how someone has reached that page. Perhaps there will be a slightly different way of writing that URL if someone's accessed that page via a link from a category or a link to your home page, or perhaps a link from another site. There could be lots of different reasons for that, and there's no reason to go into that just now in great detail. But the important thing is just ensure that you've just got one version of a URL per page, and search engines know what that one version should be. The next is relevant internal linking. And what that means, of course, is if you've got content already up there on your site, which is relevant and related to the content that you're writing and publishing at the moment, what you want to be doing is linking to the existing content that you've got on your site. And what that does is it tells search engines what relates to each other. So you've got a piece of content that's particularly pertinent. Make sure you link to it using a relevant keyword phrase, and then you're signaling to users and search engines that those contents are definitely related, and giving yourself long-term a better opportunity for getting those pieces of content ranked. Use appropriate tags for search engines. I could go on talking about SEO for hours. This isn't just about SEO. This is about the whole 4 phases of digital marketing. But in terms of the use of appropriate tags, I'm talking about things like title tags, heading tags, and what they're controlled by within WordPress. There's a few different menus. So you can actually select permalinks in WordPress. Now, if you select a good permalink structure, that's a permanent URL structure, then what that will do is it will give a better signal to search engines what your page is, and it'll make them feel that your page isn't going to change at all in the future. Always select permalinks within your WordPress settings, custom structure, and I like this structure here, which is just post name. I like to add .html onto the end of it. That's not essential at all. But what that would throw up is a URL something like this. So if I had a post titled what is a permalink and why does it matter, I would want the URL to be something like 26weekplan.com/permalink-matter.html. It's short, it's unique, but also looks like a permanent page as well. So it's more likely to be ranked for the long term. And how do I actually ensure that the permalink's quite short? Because by default, WordPress will include the whole post title. So I don't want my whole link to be what hyphen is hyphen a permalink. So I use this plugin called SEO Slugs. And what SEO Slugs will do is not bear in mind all these common words like what is a and why does it. So it'll only use words that are fairly unique and different there. So I think that's the best way of forming URLs. The next thing is relevant internal linking. I use this plugin called YARP, yet another related posts plugin. And what that does is at the end of each post that you publish, it automatically determines which other posts that you've published in the past are relevant to what you're publishing just now and will link to the posts in the past. Now, it's a good idea to manually link as well within your articles, but this will automatically, at the bottom of your articles, go related posts. It's a lovely way of actually getting search engines and users to crawl through the rest of your content that you've already published. And in terms of tagging, I mentioned titles and headings. There are lots of different SEO tags you shouldn't worry too much about. But there's a nice plugin, WordPress SEO, which will automatically optimize your different posts to ensure that you do use all these tags that are important to search engines. I mean, just as a brief overview, the title, I wouldn't have any more than about 66 characters. The meta description, I wouldn't have any more than about 150 characters. Those are probably the important ones, because if you have a look at search results, if you search Google for something, the title and the meta description is what tends to be displayed by Google there. So if you keep that the right length and you appeal to both search engines and users there, then that will give you the maximum click-through rates, and that will again be a signal to Google that your content must be relevant, so it's more likely to rank you higher in the future. And start tracking as well. Google Analytics is a great free tracking system. So hopefully, if you've got your site up and running, you're using some kind of tracking system to determine who's visiting your site, what they're doing when they're on your site as well. And Google Analytics will show you that as well. You also need to set up goals as well. There are loads of goals that you can have within your website. I'm not just talking about selling something. You might have subscriptions. So you might have a newsletter that you're offering. You might have a blog where people are commenting on your blog. You might have people bookmarking your different pages using buttons within your site. You might have feed subscriptions, RSS feeds, and of course sales as well. So all these can be set up as different goals within Google Analytics. And it's important to actually track these different things, because what you can do is all the traffic that comes through to your site is you can see what the conversion rates are for all these goals. So if you see a website in particular that's driving maybe 10 visitors to your site every day, but of those 10 visitors, 5 of them are subscribing to your RSS feed, you know that a lot of visitors that come over from them are very relevant and interested in what you're saying. And you might have another source of traffic that's giving you 20 visitors a day, but none of them are doing anything. Perhaps they're only on your site for 10 seconds or so. So not all traffic is equal. So have a look into your analytics and determine what's the most relevant traffic, and then you can forge partnerships with people that are delivering you the best quality traffic. Start split testing. Content experiments, it used to be Google Website Optimizer, but content experiments is now within Google Analytics. And with content experiments, you can do A/B split tests. So you can actually do 2 different versions of a page, and you can see what converts the best. So that's really important when it comes to e-commerce sites, when you're trying to sell something online, because it's incredible, a different title, different description, slightly different photograph, different font color, different font type. Could make an incredible difference. Even the button, the call to action, what's in that button, what color that is. So test different things, do A/B split tests to actually determine what converts the best. I've managed websites that's had tens of thousands of visitors, and I've delivered a 20% increase in conversion rates from a conversion rate that was very good to begin with. So don't presume that something is doing really well. It can always be improved upon. So that's phase one, software and structure. First of all, getting your host and CMS right, getting the design right, choosing the right theme for your site. Hopefully, if it's WordPress, it's going to be Thesis, a Woo theme, or a decent professional WordPress theme. Optimizing your site for SEO, using a decent plugin to ensure that you have unique titles, you have nice headings and meta descriptions on every single post that you make. Sure, it's extra effort to do, but it will pay dividends in the future because you'll get those rankings. Google will be more likely to think those pages are completely unique. If you start delivering things like the same page titles across your site that many sites do, then Google will think that all those pages might be the same or more likely to be the same. And if that's the case, then you're less likely to get those unique pages ranked. And the more pages you can get ranked, of course, the more traffic you can potentially get from SEO in the future. So that makes a massive difference. And track, measure, and test. Don't just put your website up there and start selling things and then start driving people to your site and hoping that it converts. You need to know what your visitors are doing. So analyze everything, where people are coming from, and what the goals and objectives that you've got set up. Hopefully you've got them set up. If you haven't, got them set up, then set them up. And set them up with a financial value as well, because you can put a financial value into Google Analytics goals. So even if you don't know exactly how much a visitor is worth, if you think that someone that subscribes to your email updates is probably 10% likely to go on and buy something for you, and you know that your average order value is £100, then you can actually say that everyone that signs up to your newsletter is probably worth £10 to you. So put that in your goal value, and then those metrics are displayed through all your referral traffic in Google Analytics. So you can see what different sources referred you traffic, how much specifically those sources were worth financially to you. So that's phase one. Phase two, get social and turn on the tap. So what's phase two all about? First of all, start publishing quality content consistently. Your website might be looking great up there, but unless you have decent content flowing on a consistent basis, then Google is going to think that your website is perhaps old, not relevant, and you'll have competitors out there that are adding content on a continual basis. So do that consistently. Syndicate your content far and wide as well. So there are different things socially, RSS-wise, that you can do to actually syndicate your content far and wide, get people reading your content on different devices. Test your metrics with PPC. So what I mean by that is actually driving a lot of traffic at your site to begin with. Once it's set up, once you've got your website selling things or whatever your call to action is, test your metrics by firing lots of traffic in there, and it'll let you better hone your conversion rates there. Because if you've only got 10 visitors coming a day, it'll take a very long time to actually determine what your conversion rates are. But if you can actually throw 1,000 people a day at your site, very, very quickly you'll determine what's converting well. And it'll be a quick way of actually improving your conversion rates. And finally, own and manage your social brand and your online reputation. So obviously I'm talking about Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, a few other social platforms as well. So registering your profiles and just knowing what people are saying about you online. So publishing content. Publish relevant, kind of quality and consistent content. That's absolute key. Make articles lengthy. There are so many, poor quality 300 or 400 word articles out there, and people will just buy them for $5, publish them, and then they think that search engines are going to crawl their site, they're going to drive visitors at their site. It's a lot more about quality now. So I'm talking about lengthy articles. I'm talking about maybe 1,000 words, but also including images, embedding videos, very relevant. The kind of content that people will want to naturally share on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever social platforms they want to share content on. Outsource if necessary. Outsourcing's fine. You're in business and you shouldn't actually spend all your time producing content. But just ensure that the quality is there and you've got a consistent voice there as well that represents your brand well. So outsourcing content writing. Surprise, surprise, I'm recommending Odesk there as well. Now, how do I use Odesk? In terms of content writing, I think in terms of consistency and tone and language, I would recommend using native language writers. You can also search Odesk for the quality of the writer. So it's got an eBay-type rating system where previous people that have used that person before will give them a star rating. So there's enough people on there to actually search for people just who are 4.5 stars and above. And you can also search by how much money they're wanting to write articles. Some people are wanting $100 an hour. You don't have to pay that much to have a great quality writer. I wouldn't suggest just searching for the lowest possible. Some people are willing to accept $5 for writing an article. But search for, what I do is search for between $10 and $20 per hour. And if you do that and ask for an 1,000-word article, you should get a decent quality article, probably for about 2 hours worth of work there. And that should, you should find someone after a while that can deliver decent, consistent content for your business. Syndicating your content. So you want your content obviously published on your site, but if you're publishing it on your blog, then your blog has an RSS feed. Your RSS feed is a way that people can subscribe to the latest content on that blog. But it's not just a way to actually subscribe to content. It's also a method of delivering content elsewhere. And there are loads of blog and RSS directories. And you can actually submit your blog and your RSS feed on all these different directories. Social media as well. Once you've published a piece of content, tell people on Facebook, tell people on Twitter, interact with them a little bit, encourage them to retweet it a little bit there as well. There are also social media directories as well. So Facebook page directories, and there are lots of Twitter directories as well. So when you start using social media, make sure you submit your Twitter profile and your Facebook page to all these different social directories, because when you do that, when you add new content, when you get new followers, you'll start getting ranked higher on these directories, and people will start finding you through these social media directories, and that will drive them back towards your website, because you want multiple funnels towards your website in terms of delivering traffic. Now, obviously, I can't cover absolutely everything. 26-week digital marketing plan inner circle for the full submission list, because there are loads of Twitter directories, loads of Facebook page directories as well. I mentioned test your metrics with PPC. Google AdWords, probably in the UK, delivers about 90% of the search traffic, which is an incredible amount. So you know that the place to go if you want to drive lots of traffic to your site is Google AdWords. There are other pay-per-click networks to test, and you can test, but I would suggest getting Google AdWords right to begin with, and by focusing on the Google search to begin with. Google have lots of different partners where they deliver search results, and they also have their content network as well. But if you just focus on their search network, when you set up your Google AdWords account, you can choose to only display your adverts next to the search results. And that'll probably deliver you the highest click-through rates, and it'll be a lot of traffic as well. So if you just hone your activity on that area to begin with to get your pay-per-click right. And then you can roll out the activity actually to other different networks after that. A few other pay-per-click tips here. Use exact match keywords and relevant landing pages. Now, Google, to begin with, by default, will try and give you as much traffic as possible, but it's probably not going to be as much relevant traffic as possible. And there are a few different things you can do to tailor the traffic that you get. One is putting inverted commas around your keyword phrase that you want to target. And what that will do is it will deliver people that have searched for that phrase, but also that phrase and a few other words as well. So if you're targeting red boots and you've put your inverted commas around red boots in Google AdWords, it'll also bring in people who are searching for cheap red boots, old red boots. So if you only want to target red boots, what you want to be doing is put square brackets around the phrase red boots. So I would suggest starting off a Google AdWords campaign with square brackets around all your keyword phrases and having very focused, specific landing pages. So probably the biggest mistake that people make with pay-per-click is driving all the traffic to the home page. If your advert is about red boots, the title needs to be about red boots, the description needs to be about the best red boots and why these are the best red boots, and your URL in the ad needs to be your brand name / red boots, and the landing page needs to be about red boots and give people the opportunity to buy red boots. Don't drive people towards your home page and make people find that page. And it's incredible how many people advertise in Google AdWords. You click in the advert and you can't find what you were actually looking for, because people are paying good money for that. So give yourself the best opportunity to actually convert that traffic. Be careful with your budget. You can run away with a budget very quickly. You don't bid too low. I suggest bidding enough to actually go for position 3 or 4 to begin with, because the way that Google AdWords works, position 1 and 2 can often be fighting over each other to drive as much traffic as possible, they think, but because they're fighting, they're also paying a lot more potentially than position 3 or 4. So, if you try for position 3 or 4 to begin with, see how much that costs you, and then maybe test bidding a bit more and bidding a little bit less. Your social brand and reputation. So first of all, what you want to be doing is check your social brand availability. There's a great site called Noam, where it's free to use. Enter your brand name within Noam, and it'll check 550 different social sites to see if your brand exists there. So if I typed 26-week plan in there and clicked check it, then it would tell me all the social platforms that were free and available for me to register my brand name. And even if you're not intending on using your brand name, for YouTube or Facebook or whatever at the moment, grab it just now. If it's available, reserve it, because once you've got it, no one else can get it at all. So, it's a great idea to do that. Kickstart your social strategy. So, once hopefully your brand's free, register Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube, I would suggest to begin with. Those are probably the important ones to begin with just now. And have a look at your competitors' strategy. You've got to have loads of competitors out there that are, potentially doing a similar kind of thing that you're doing. So what are they producing in terms of content? What's working for them? Have a look at the content that's being shared, that's being talked about, that's being liked, that's being retweeted. And then you can start thinking about content yourself. Social is all about content and value, not selling. Don't try and sell anything on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube. What you're doing is you're delivering as much as you can just in terms of good value and information, and you're building trust. And people are talking about what you're talking about. And you can actually talk to people and show that you actually know what you're talking about. And then people might recommend you to their friends and be more likely to buy from you in the future. But they'll find a way to your site. But selling will certainly put them off. And generally, when they're on a social platform, they're probably not in a frame of mind to buy something immediately. Managing your social discussions. Has anyone heard of Hootsuite? A service called Hootsuite? Okay. So third of people. So Hootsuite is a really good social media management platform. So you can actually manage your Twitter profile and your Facebook page and a couple of other social platforms from within here. So it means that you don't have to, go onto Facebook, then go onto Twitter to see what people are saying about you. So you can subscribe to the feed that people are saying about you. So it'll save you a lot of time, and you can get other people to manage things on your behalf there as well. I've got someone that works for me in another country that focuses on Facebook and Twitter, and they use Facebook. They use Hootsuite to actually manage everything for themselves. Another thing you need to do is monitor your reputation. What are people saying about your brand? This is also often a big problem for companies that get negative tweets or negative Facebook comments. And then the worst thing is it's not dealt with, or it's dealt with very, very slowly. You've heard stories, I'm sure, of airlines or big hotel chains getting complaints, people talking about them on Twitter and them not doing anything about it. They're probably not even tracking what people are saying about their brand online. And if they are, then they don't have a proactive strategy in place to actually do something about it. So Google Alerts and another service called Social Mention, two free services that you can actually use to track what people are saying about your brand. So within Google Alerts and Social Mention, just pop your brand name in, say that you want to receive updates whenever people mention your brand name, and you will receive an email then, and you can decide whether or not you want to go in there, discuss things, and then try and resolve a situation as it occurs. So phase 2, get social on the tap. The summary is start publishing quality content consistently. Whatever your consistency is, that's fine. Once a month, as long as it's an absolutely great piece of content, at least 1,000 words, videos, images in there as well. But you consistently, once a month, just outsource the actual writing of the content, get someone on Odesk to write it. You can edit it very slightly. Search on YouTube to actually see if there's any decent videos that are relevant and related that you can embed in the article as well. Then you can use a service like Fotolia, an image search service, where you can buy images for about $1 per image. So you can personalize your post, have a really good quality image at the front, and that looks a world of difference away from someone who's actually just bought an article for $5, 400 words. People aren't reading them anymore, and even if it's actually going to get to the top of Google and you're going to get traffic for it, it's going to send negative signals about your site. Because if people land on your site, they see a rubbish article, then they're going to go off. Within 5 or 10 seconds, Google are going to think, aha, that website is obviously not relevant for that search term, so next time I'm not going to rank them as highly for that term. That will be within Google's thought process. The time that people spend on your site after clicking through from Google search results is very, very important. So you can deliver that good content, get people staying a few minutes on the page, viewing other pages on your site as well. That will positively impact your search engine rankings as well. Test your metrics with PPC as well. So set up goals, set up different conversion tests using Google Analytics. And if you do that, try and drive lots of relevant, decent traffic at your pages. And if you do that, then you can see what pages are converting well, what's working better in terms of headlines or images, and then you can maximize your conversion rates from there. If you don't set up any split tests, then you will never improve your conversion rates, so you won't make best use of the traffic that does hit your site. And then finally, own and manage your social brand and your online reputation. Register your brand socially. So use that NOAM service to ensure that you've got your brand registered on Facebook, on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Foursquare, a few other important social networks. You might not be using them now, but you will be potentially using them in the future. So grab your brand just now and monitor your online reputation. Which brings us on to phase number 3, broaden your base. So what's broaden your base? Broaden your base. First of all, stop relying on just a few sources of traffic. A lot of people make the mistake of fine, they're ranking really high in Google. They're driving thousands of visitors through pay-per-click and converting those visitors, and they're making decent money from those visitors, so they're doing well online. Well, that's just not the case, because actually what happens if Google overnight decides that they don't like your website anymore, decides that you've got to actually pay more for your keywords and pay-per-click? So broaden your base is all about broadening the traffic in terms of where it's coming from. Can you drive more traffic from other places? Don't just rely on 1 or 2 places for traffic, even though it is very good traffic. Try and make it 10 plus places that you're driving traffic from. Analyze your competitors' backlinks. So I'll show you a service where you can actually use to analyze where your competitors are getting their links from, and probably their traffic as well. Build relationships with different bloggers, and also look for guest posting opportunities as well. Guest posting is where you can actually write a post and get it published on a really high traffic website, and forge relationships with that website owner, but also actually drive traffic from that side as well. So first of all, starting off, broaden your base with reducing your risk. You may have great organic rankings. You may have mastered PPC, but what happens if Google says no, they don't want to rank you anymore? Well, first of all, you need to actually try and get the traffic that your competitors are getting. And you can use this service called Open Site Explorer. There's a free version where you can see just 5 results. If you sign up with SEO Moz for free, you get a few more results as well. And there's another paid service with SEO Moz where you actually get a lot of results. But even the free service is fairly decent because you can actually see which links are the most valuable links that are pointing to your competitors. So filter Open Site Explorer to actually show followed and external links only. So that means you're not interested in the links from your competitor's own website that is pointing to their homepage. So external links only means links from other websites that are pointing to your competitor's site. Followed. Does everyone know the difference between no follow and follow? Does that ring a bell? No? Okay, that's fine. No follow and follow. What happens is within the code of a link, someone can actually write, I don't want this link to be given any juice by search engines, to actually count as a vote in search engines. Because different links from other websites that are followed as an actual signal that it's a relevant link, a link that makes that page more relevant. And that's one of the main reasons why a web page will rank higher in Google, because it's got more relevant, decent links pointing to your site. It used to be many years ago where it mattered the number of links that pointed to your site. Now it's about the quality and the relevance of links that point to your site. But those links can either be followed or non-followed. Followed means it's a signal to search engines that's fine. It's a link that's worthwhile considering in your algorithm. No follow means that there's a little tag within that links that tells search engines, I'm linking to this page, but please don't pass any juice from my site to this other site. So there are lots of different reasons to make a link no follow. So it's not worthwhile going really deeply into that at the moment, but all you should know in terms of follow and no follow is you're only interested in the links that are followed by search engines and the links that are followed by search engines to get to your competitors. So analyze your competitors' links in Open Site Explorer, see which ones are followed, and external links from other sites only. And use page authority and domain authority within Open Site Explorer. But when you go on there, you'll be able to see these metrics. And generally, after you actually compare and contrast a few different competitor websites, you will get a feeling of those scores. Generally, a ranking of about 30 and above in terms of domain authority and page authority indicates that it's a reasonable website. But you've got really high authority websites that will have a ranking ranking of maybe 70 or 80 or even above, and that will indicate there's a massively popular website. But even if you have a ranking of 30 or above, and you can get a link from a few relevant websites of that authority, then it's certainly worthwhile the effort to try and get those links. So you need to determine how the link occurred and attempt to achieve the same for your site. So once you see the links that are linking to your competitors' sites, it may be because it's a directory, it may be because it's a collection of information, or perhaps an article about that website. But perhaps there's an opportunity for you to provide some content to the website and get it to link to you. And if it's a decent authority site, if it's relevant to your niche, then it's really worth the effort to do that. So the next is blogger relations. So this is kind of related to that. And what I suggest is finding medium authority bloggers in your niche and subscribing to their updates. So why medium authority bloggers? Why not high authority bloggers? Well, generally, medium authority bloggers will be a little bit more open to exploring new relationships. They'll be more likely to actually receive, read, and perhaps even act on communication from you. So I would suggest looking for bloggers with a page rank of 3 to 5, an Alexa rank of 100,000 to 500,000 is a good range to target these kind of bloggers. Try searching services like Blog Catalog, Technorati, and Google Blog Search to actually find these bloggers. So if you find these bloggers in your niche using Blog Catalog, that's the Blog Catalog service, first of all, link to them from your blog. Generally, if you've got a blog yourself, you might have what's called a blog roll. A blog roll is essentially a list of other bloggers that you like and read yourself. So within your sidebar navigation, give them a link. Then subscribe to their own feed. See what they're saying in terms of posts. And if they write a post that's relevant, that's interesting, that's useful, comment on their posts. Add something of value yourself. Don't just say, nice post, thanks for sharing, or rubbish like that, because that's the kind of thing that a cheap outsourcer will do. You need to add real value to their post. And reference their posts from your own blog post as well. There's a mechanism within WordPress which will often recognize other blog posts that have referenced your blog post. So if you reference someone else's blog post by just linking to it from your blog post, then that will often notify the other blog post owner that you have referenced them. And that automated mechanism will make it very easy to actually raise your head above the parapet in terms of the knowledge of your site with this other blogger out there. So it's a good idea to actually link to other blog posts from your own blog posts, and try and do that on a regular basis. Link to other useful, relevant content. Guest posting. So search for guest writers wanted plus your industry segment in Google. And if you do that, you can collate a list of guest posting opportunities, prioritizing by page rank, domain authority, and relevance. There are so many guest posting opportunities out there, as long as you offer decent, valuable, unique content. I've just searched guests writers wanted travel here, and you can see there's about 4,000 results in Google for that. So you can certainly easily find these opportunities in Google. Have a look at these websites' page rank, their domain authority, their Alexa rank, their metrics that indicate whether or not they are high authority websites. Even actually you can go in and see how many Facebook page fans they've got, or likes they've got, some Twitter followers. You can have a look at comments on their blog posts as well. So make a decision to actually research writing opportunities and then say that you've got a good article that you want to submit to this website, and then test the website out in terms of metrics, how much traffic they're driving to your site from the article that you've posted on the site, and obviously how that traffic is converting your goals that you've already set up in Google Analytics. So, phase 3, broaden your base. Stop relying on just a few sources of traffic. If you've got good search rankings for different keyword phrases, don't just rest on your laurels. Analyze your competitors' backlinks, build relationships with bloggers, look for guest post opportunities there. Just drive lots of different sources of traffic to your site. Another thing that you can do at this stage of broadening your base is potentially set up your own affiliate marketing scheme, where if you're selling your own products and services online, then you can use third-party services or third-party software to drive traffic at your site. I recommend focusing on SEO first of all, because if you're building relationships with bloggers, you want natural links back to your site. You don't want affiliate tracking links, which won't be counted by Google. So try and focus on SEO first of all, but affiliates, links, affiliate traffic could be an appropriate thing to implement on this stage. So that's phase 3, broaden your base, which takes us on to the very final phase, broaden your horizon. So broaden your horizon. So what that's about is actually ensuring that you're taking advantage of new media marketing opportunities. It's not just about the written content online. It's not just about being online. It's about a digital presence, and it's about where people read and really embrace that digital content. So audio interviews can be a great way of building your profile, syndication and SEO. Ebooks and e-magazines broaden your reach online. And videos are another really effective funnel. So funnel is an important word, because think of it as broadening your reach, getting content out there on loads of different devices, and getting subtle funnels back to your site. And as long as your site converts and it's relevant to that content, you get enough visitors, you will get enough conversions, and you'll just get natural traffic back to your site. So audio interviews, or otherwise known as podcasting. Industry experts love to be interviewed. If you ask someone for a link back to your site, they probably won't even reply to your email. But if you say to someone, I'm conducting an interview on this topic, and I know that you're an industry expert because you've published this article, could you possibly spare half an hour of your time to be interviewed on this? In my experience, and I've done lots of podcast interviews, lots of top people in industries will say yes, absolutely, no problem at all. Skype to Skype with recording software works great, and you can edit with a free tool called Audacity as well. Transcribe the recording using a service like Scribey. So let's have a look at these services here, and then publish the recording on a blog post and submit to podcasting directories. So again, in the 26-week digital marketing plan Inner Circle, I do obviously go into greater depth, because there's only so much I can cover here. I'm trying to give as much content as I can, but it's an overview of each area. So let's have a look into these different pieces of software, these different recording platforms. Because you can produce content like this. Look, I've got top podcasters here, a top Australian internet marketer, a top outsourcer, app person, and also kind of keyword research person as well. So these are top people within their industry that I've interviewed. And I've just done that process. I've just contacted them and said, I host a regular podcast. I'd like to interview on this particular subject, because I like this article. Make sure you go that extra mile and actually say to them why you like them and reference a particular article. Because remember, they get so many requests like this. If you're just a little bit kind of personal in terms of telling something very specific, then you're more likely to get that yes. I've had loads of yeses like that before. So what software do I use for podcasting? Skype. Skype's free to use. There's a MX Skype Recorders is a nice kind of recording piece of software that you can use with Skype. There are lots of pieces of software, in addition to that. This one costs about $30. Audacity is a great tool for editing audio. Because you can put your MP3 file through Audacity, and you can easily cut off bits and pieces. If you've got a bit that you don't like in particular, Audacity can chop that off quite easily. And you can also take out things like background noise. If you've got a bit of a hum because of a computer or something like that, you can use Audacity to take out that background noise. And this piece of software called the Levelator, that's another free piece of software, and that's great as well, because quite often if you're interviewing someone in another country, and I've interviewed people in America and Australia, and Skype's fantastic for doing that, but you can quite often get someone who's not quite the right volume or dips in and out of the conversation a little bit because of a dodgy line. If that's the case, put the recording through this bit of software called the Levelator, and what that will do is it'll actually make the recording all nice and consistent in the right volume, so the two people talking are of consistent volume. And then Scribey as well. You probably noticed in my posts, that's all my podcasts, I've got the transcription of the podcast there as well. Because although audio is great, and people can subscribe to audio, they're not necessarily going to want to do that all the time. Some people love reading, some people love audio, some people love video. So try to appeal to as many different types of people as possible. And the people that like the reading, publish the written content on your site as well. But that's not only appealing to those people, it's also appealing towards search engines as well, because of course search engines are more likely to be able to crawl content, written content, as opposed to audio content. But we'll get better and better, with audio content over time. But if you can provide that written as content as well, demonstrating to search engines that you're serious about your topic. So I use the service called Scribey. There are only I don't know the exact cost here, but it's something like. I think it's $1.50 an audio minute, so it's not that much really, and that you can get a decent quality transcript of your recording there as well if you use that service. Hosting. Now, if you've got audio, then you're not going to be able to use a decent free audio-only hosting service. So if you're serious about podcasting, then you want to use a service like Libsyn. Now, Libsyn is fairly cheap. They start off at something like $5 a month, and that's just the hosting of that content. So if you're doing podcasting on a regular basis, that's probably the best service to use. If you're not doing it on a regular basis, then I'd probably recommend using Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is a fairly cheap hosting service that can deliver big files like your audio file, because your audio file is a fairly big file. So if you've got your own shared server host like HostGator or VidaHost, what you don't want to be doing is uploading massive files and expecting a shared host like that to be quite comfortable with delivering big files and lots of content quickly. So especially if you're using a shared host, you've got big pieces of media, you've got audio files and video files. Stick with a shared host, but for the big files, host them on specialist servers. You can still drive, tens, 50s, probably hundreds of different downloads from Amazon without it costing you any more than $10 a month. So if it's just one or two files, host them on Amazon regular basis, use that Libsyn service. Something else you can do, ebooks and magazines. Free ebooks in exchange for an email opt-in. That's something that's worked really, really well for me. Kindle ebooks and iPad magazines. So let's have a look at these free ebooks in exchange for an email opt-in. So that's another site of mine, 13 Pillars, 13 Pillars of Internet Marketing. Now that page actually converts at 36%. So 36% of people that land on that page will put in their name and email address and download that book. So it's a great, squeeze page as it is. And what a squeeze page is it's a page that only gives people one opportunity, one option. So it squeezes them towards that one option. So it's not great for your own or your main site, but if you've got what I call feeder sites, that can actually feed into your email autoresponder or feed into your main site, then it's a good strategy to have additional brands like that. So what I've got is I've got the 26-week digital marketing plan as the main brand, but I've got another brand, the 13 pillars of internet marketing, where I'm happy to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to driving people towards the site, to actually squeeze their name and email address out of them, and then people opt into the list. Then I can tell them more about the 26-week digital marketing plan after that, and they can join up if they want, but they've opted into the database then as well. So it's a good way of actually delivering free ebooks. So I deliver probably about 10 opt-ins just through that 13 pillar site. So there's many more opt-ins through the 26-week plan site, but that's just a feeder site that can deliver those additional opt-ins. And I use this WordPress theme called Optimize Press. So if you're going to use a strategy like that, then that's a good effective tool to actually use if you're going to deliver a free ebook and maximize your conversion rates. Because if you don't do that, quite easily your conversion rates will be worse than 10%. And if you can improve it to 30, 40%, it makes a massive difference by taking advantage of every single person that visits your site. Amazon Kindle books. You don't want to be limiting yourself to your own website. So Amazon Kindle books, I've just started publishing a series of Kindle books here as well, and that gives people an opportunity, whether they're on public transport, don't have access to the internet to actually consume your content. Loads of people with Kindles now, with iPads, different devices, so don't limit yourself to your site. It doesn't have to be your whole proposition, your whole product, but if you want to deliver quality content as a way of actually driving people towards other products and services, it's a great way to do it. I'm not talking about using it as a sales tool, because a lot of people would actually write a Kindle book and just make it a long sales letter in effect. And I'm not doing that at all. I'm offering on the Kindle about a 60-page book for £1.53. I think it's $2.99 in the US. So it's a reasonable price point for that that size of a book. What you don't want to be doing is actually trying to get too much out of it, either money-wise or deliver too little value in terms of content. And Amazon KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. So that's free on Amazon, obviously, and that'll actually let you very, very easily publish your own Kindle book. It's so easy to do. You can just write it on Word. You save the Word file as an HTML document, and then when you do that, you can actually use Amazon's bit of software to convert it to a MOBI file, which is an ebook file format, and then you upload that to Kindle Direct. It's really easy to do. KDP will actually show you just exactly how to do that. And that's Digital Marketing Monthly on iTunes. So you search for Digital Marketing Monthly, or in fact you search for digital marketing. I think it's on the first page now of the App Store for digital marketing. But it's optimized for loads of other terms. So I've got probably about I think 1,000 and something anyway, people reading this at the moment. But the number's growing quickly. It's growing at about 25% per month. So that seems to be a really great way of reaching people. And you don't necessarily have to write all the content yourself. You can get contributions from other people. I write some content sometimes, but I often contact people to say, you've published a great article on this. Can I actually feature this article and use it in this iPad magazine? Would you mind at all if I do that? And I explain to them, look, if I do that, then because it's going to be published in the iPad, you don't have any issue with duplicate content whatsoever. So you don't have to worry about SEO. And the vast majority of people, about 80% of people that I've contacted in that way and seen how professional the magazine looks, says, yes, absolutely, would love for you to feature us. And in fact, tell us when the article has been published, and we'll tell our own subscribers as well. So you can imagine what that does to the viral nature of a digital magazine like that. So it's a great new way of publishing magazines online. So I use Magcast for that, which is the publishing platform to actually publish a magazine online or on the iPad. Video marketing. record a seminar for about 90 minutes, giving as much value as you can. Sound familiar? Don't hold back, but show you can offer even more value through your paid services. Upload the video to YouTube and seed. So there's a big, there's a process, there's a great seeding process behind that, in that you can tell people initially about your video on YouTube, and if you build traffic towards that initially, then YouTube's algorithm will recognize that, and because they see that there are loads of people coming to view the video and liking it to begin with, you're more likely to drive traffic from YouTube's natural search. And I think YouTube's the second largest search engine online now after Google. So you can drive an awful lot of traffic from Google search. So in fact, if you search YouTube for internet marketing, that video at the time of speaking is #1. That's a paid ad above it. So 39,200 about views. That's the video itself. And if you have a look underneath it, 39,204, and also a nice link there. And that's what you can do with your description. So if you publish a video on YouTube, in your description, the first thing you should do is just write your full URL, your full website address. And if you do that, then people will click on it and go back to your website. And it's a live link. It's not followed by search engines, but it doesn't matter massively. You're focusing on traffic, and it's a great way of driving traffic to your site. Just make sure you write your link http://www. Because unless you include the HTTP, it won't be clickable. So that ensures that it's clickable, and then people will click on it and drive back to your site. And of course, they'll drive back to this page, and that's where a lot of this traffic comes from. So in terms of that video, 39,204 views in 15 months. So that's an average of 90 views a day. 239 likes, 174 comments, and about 10 ebook downloads per day. But that's not just ebook downloads, that's people subscribing to my database. So I've got their name and email address, and people who are saying that they're obviously very, very interested in internet marketing, digital marketing. Then I can talk to them more after that. I can get them opted into my email autoresponder, it's called. You haven't had enough time to talk about email autoresponders tonight, but it's a good sequence that you can actually write to automatically deliver people emails when they subscribe to your email list. Video marketing summary. So record high quality, lengthy content to position yourself ahead of the competition. Edit professionally with slides. So you want a decent professional recording. A lot of people say just do a 5-minute video, get it up there on YouTube, optimize it for a few keyword phrases. In my opinion, that's just the same as saying, just outsource your content writing, get someone to write a 400-word article and publish it and just get it up there for search engines. It's not like that anymore. This 13 Pillars seminar on YouTube was 2.5 hours long, and loads of people, watched the whole seminar on YouTube. So YouTube is a completely different watching experience to what it used to be a few years ago. So if you're doing videos, deliver, as good content as you can possibly deliver. This talk's going to be uploaded onto YouTube at some point, and it's going to be, well over an hour long. So if that's the case, then hopefully people will recognize it as trying to deliver decent content, be much more likely to actually comment on it, like it, much more likely to be a little bit more viral. And if that's the case, then because of that, it'll stay at the top of YouTube search, and you'll get those kind of results. Internet marketing isn't that popular a keyword phrase on YouTube. You could have other phrases on YouTube which are more popular than that. So possibly even for your niche, your industry, there is an even greater opportunity for ranking high on YouTube and driving content back to your site because of that. So upload to YouTube, optimize and seed. So optimize, by that I just mean you've got a target keyword phrase. Hopefully you've done some keyword research to begin with, and you know what keyword to be aiming for. So incorporate your keyword phrase. within your title, within your description, and within the tags that you tag your video for there as well. And then you want to drive a lot of traffic, or as much traffic as possible, towards your video to begin with. So that's phase number 4, broaden your horizon. So, starting with audio interviews, great for your profile, because if you actually ask to interview someone, you're raising your profile as well as actually appealing to their ego as well. But it's great for syndication and SEO. Syndication, because if you publish on a regular basis, if you publish audio on a regular basis, then that in effect is a podcast. All you have to do is use a WordPress blog, or a blog, another blog, publish to a category. So you'd have a category named podcast, and then that category would have a separate RSS feed associated with it. So your structure will probably be something like your domain name.com/category/podcast, and then /feed, and that would be your feed URL. I would use a service called FeedBurner to actually burn that feed. And what that means is it gives you stats on how many people are actually subscribing to the RSS feed. So using a service called FeedBurner rather than the native feed within your WordPress blog. But anyway, if you have a specific category within your blog for podcast, and you publish an audio interview associated with that post, you can actually submit that category URL to different podcasting directories. And what the podcasting directories will do is, as soon as you publish a new podcast, is they will display that content within those directories. So you're syndicating your content out there. You've maybe got about 40 or 50 great podcasting directories. You just search Google for podcasting directory, podcast directory submit or something like that, and you'll find podcasting directories. Submit your podcast category to that on your blog, and it's another great way of syndicating content out there. Use it for your SEO as well by using the transcription service, publishing the content on your original blog post as well. Ebooks and e-magazines, so you've got different types of ebooks. You've got your free ebooks in exchange for the name and email address. You've got your paid or your free ebooks that you can do in Amazon Kindle. And your e-magazines kind of broaden your reach there as well. Now, the e-magazine I've called, of course, Digital Marketing Monthly. So I'm using different brands there. So I've got the 13 Pillars brand, the 26-week Digital Marketing Plan brand, the Digital Marketing Monthly. So it's a way of kind of funneling traffic from different places. And I don't want people associating exactly the same thing to different brands. And it's a way of protecting yourself in the future as well. Videos are an absolutely great way of funneling traffic back to your site as well. So if you're doing this kind of thing, you need to be presenting an offer. When you present your seminar, you need to include some kind of no-brainer call to action. It could be something as simple as, a subscription, a free ebook. Ideally, it's going to be some kind of product and service. So here's an example. This is our offer for you to join the 26-week Digital Marketing Plan Inner Circle. So what you get is 26 hours of step-by-step digital marketing strategy video training, screencast videos, and case studies from 10 different industries. So I've asked loads of people, loads of my existing subscribers, if they'll actually be case studies themselves, and I've used those websites as specific examples and picked different industries. I think there's a flooring provider. There's so many different types of businesses. There's a travel business from Australia. So it's great having loads of different examples there. So this is the content. This is actually what it covers. Obviously, I've tried to give you as much in terms of delivering, what the specific phases are. And I really, try and implore businesses to actually focus in that order on digital marketing. Because if you start doing things in a different order, if you if you drive traffic from social media first of all, and your website's not ready, then they won't convert. So you need to get your site ready to begin with. So that's why I recommend 26-week plan to actually delivered in this order. So starting off with competitor analysis, then SEO keyword research. So using lots of different tools to actually ensure that you're using the right keyword phrases for your site, the kind of keyword phrases that people are searching for. One of the biggest mistakes that people use is actually presuming that they know their market, that they know what people are likely to search for in terms of their markets, and that's just not the case. Unless you can conduct some really good quality keyword research, I can guarantee you'll be missing out on opportunities for your target market. Website frameworks, that's about getting your site structure right to begin with. What theme within WordPress and how to set up that as well. Authority content, so how to build authority content in your site to begin with, getting your on-site SEO right, your visitor analytics. Phase 2, getting social and turning on the tap. So one thing we didn't cover really tonight was opt-in email marketing. So there's lots of great either online services or other pieces of software that you can use in your own server. So it's important to have a great piece of email marketing software that you can use because you want to be building that list. Because even though you've got great traffic at the moment, even you've got great interaction on Facebook or Twitter, you're not building a database. And if you suddenly lose that ranking, then you don't have anyone to market to in the future. How to blog really effectively, social media management, content syndication, so ensuring that when you actually publish a new post on your blog, you're getting that content delivered all over the place, as many places as possible. Didn't cover press releases at all, so that's another thing that you can do in terms of launching your site and driving lots of traffic at your site to begin with. There's different online press release distribution services that you can use to drive a lot of traffic back to your site, but to tell people about your product and service that you've just launched. Pay-per-click advertising, online reputation management. Third phase, broaden your base. So directories, we haven't really covered at all, and curated lists. What that is basically is, you've probably seen on different blogs out there, is people will often put a list of top people in an industry, top tweeters, within a particular industry. And what a curated list is really a list that's been put together by this blogger and spent a lot of time over. So if you can actually appear on these types of lists of industry leaders in your sector, then obviously you're more likely to actually get visitors from that. Local SEO marketing, depending on your business, it's quite important to actually appear on Google local listings as well. Competitor backlinks we touched on, blogger outreach and guest posting, review sites and social sharing as well. Review sites are essential as well, especially if you've got a business that's got a physical premises somewhere. Because if you type your business name into Google and there are a few different reviews about your business that have 1 or 2 stars, then that could be the reason why you aren't actually getting more visitors to your premises. So, which review sites matter and what you can actually do to encourage people to leave natural reviews that are more relevant for your business. And affiliate marketing as well might be very relevant for your business if you do sell online. And finally, phase 4, broaden your horizon, video and document sharing sites. Document sharing sites we didn't really cover. Document sharing sites is where you can actually share presentations or PDF documents online. So there are sites like Scribd and other sites online where you can upload PDF documents and get tens of thousands of people viewing those documents and another funnel back to your site. Podcasting, ebooks, apps and magazines. So this magazine, Digital Marketing Monthly, is in effect just an iPad app. So you can devise an app to be a magazine. You could have an app to do something else in your business, but obviously it could be a traffic driver back to your site. Feeder sites, different brands, and finally online meets offline, and that is physical products. You can have physical products and sell them on places like Amazon and lots of other services, even eBay. And it could be a funnel into your more pricier products or services. Perhaps you've got some cheaper products or services that you can sell on Amazon or eBay for not much information, or not much profit, sorry, but use that as a way to actually build up your customer database. And then you've got a list of names and email addresses and buying details of customers. And then they could be customers for a long time with you as well. So it's important to integrate your online and offline. Another example is send out cards. A lot of people, if they receive a physical card after they've bought something online, thinks it's very different and very personal. So if you've just ordered something online and you receive a physical thank you card, thanks for being a customer, really appreciate it, then that kind of online meets offline can be very, very effective indeed. So a lot of information covered there as well. I've also got the version 2 online there as well. So I've just put that online, and also a digital copy of version 1. So the whole first 26-week internet marketing plan is online there as well. So loads of people give me great reviews. That's another review from a chap called Chris Hoskin. This package has been has the basics outlined in as clear a manner as I've ever seen, and I didn't pay him any money at all. So, if you send out your products and services to people to review, and if they are, hopefully great, then people will give you natural good reviews. And you can use that hopefully as testimonials with permission in the future as well. I also have the 60-day money-back guarantee as well. So how much did it actually cost? Well, the first plan was $799. But this one is delivered online and continually updated, so it's a bit different. So it means that I don't have the overheads of lots of cardboard boxes, but I do have a little bit more work with continually updating it, because digital marketing changes quite often as well. Although the principles don't change that much. So I think £97 per month is about a fair kind of price point for all that information up there. But I'm not actually going to do that, because I do want lots of people to benefit from it. So the kind of price that I'm charging for everything online is $27 a month, and just $5 for the first week.